you a happy spring. This is the first day of spring, and it's time for a new beginning. Yeah, and that's why we're having the World Vegan Summit and Expo. It's a new beginning for our animal rights or animal advocacy, as a new beginning for, well, just really focusing our attention on the need to get everybody to go vegan as quickly as possible. And how can we do that? You know, we know it's the most important thing in the world. This Marriott Hotel is really excited. A lot of people in LA are excited. You know, this is the weekend when LA goes vegan. Yeah. Everybody in LA, anybody in the hotel here, anybody around town, to go vegan for all the reasons that there are to, you know, that we care about in LA, basically. So people are concerned about their health, right? You know, the environment, animals. So that's why we are here, primarily on behalf of the animals. We are here on behalf of the animals, and because they seriously lack advocacy. I mean, it seems like the best that people can do for them is argue for the right size cage for them, or the right vegetation for them to eat, you know, like the grass-fed or whatever that might mean. And none of which really makes environmental sense. Oh, and by the way, you know, people seem to like their grass-fed beef, and that seems to be the big animal rights issue. You didn't realize it. All people now, there's this bacon craze, and it seems that there's this plague, this disease that is it's a diarrhea that's killing tens of millions of pigs around the country. So it's a real plague, and the only way they can address that, the pig farmers, including the Vice President of the Humane Society of the United States, who is a pig farmer, the only way to keep the pigs alive is to feed them diarrhea. So, all your friends who are enjoying the bacon craze are enjoying their diarrhea-fed bacon. Whatever. So we're here this weekend basically because nobody's done this. You know, nobody's gotten together to say, you know, we need to have the most important gathering of people imaginable. People fly over the world for climate change conferences knowing that they will accomplish nothing. I mean, we really can't. This one better. Okay. So, oh, did I say I was Bob Linden? I don't know. Bob Linden. Did I say I wanted some applause for no reason, just to So I've hosted a vegan radio show now for close to 15 years. GoVeganRadio.com, programs are archived there. So many of the speakers who are here with us this weekend have been on my show, and you can go check out the archives and listen to the wealth of information. I think that this is the most important gathering ever, because this is the gathering that can change the world. People go off to the climate change conferences and they argue about carbon trading and, you know, hedge fund-like ridiculous things, and also thinking that they can depend on government or politicians to come up with any solution, when the solution is we all individually have to go vegan. That to combat climate change, because animal agriculture is the #1 cause of climate change. And drought here in California, and that seems to be a major issue. Just now NASA saying, oh, maybe we have a year left to water here. Well, I as a vegan will only need 10,000 gallons of water to grow my food, but the meat eaters need 320,000 gallons. So each vegan in this room saved 310,000 gallons of water this past year. And we need to get that message out to other people, because they just don't know, they don't seem to know the answers. You know, you have Governor Brown who says, drought, okay, well, we can solve that. When you go to a restaurant, just don't decline the glass of water at a restaurant, right? So that would mean that, 4 million people would have to go to Denny's to equal what one vegan has saved over the years. So, So we're here to save the world, the animals, the children, and also to redefine what is animal advocacy, since that has been really corrupted. And there are many groups that have corrupted that in the name of profit, apparently. So we'll be talking a lot about that this weekend, and have a lot lined up for you. Breakfast tomorrow morning. Starts at 8:15. There's yoga at 7 a.m. if you're up early, so there'll be yoga out on the helipad. Don't fall. Don't fall. Long weekend. So, tonight we have comedy coming up from Mike Kaplan, and Donna Delory tomorrow, musical performer. Just have really a great weekend planned for you, and we hope you enjoy it, enjoy the food, and that we all get together and inspire each other to help everyone go vegan and strategize and figure out how we might do that as quickly as possible, because the world needs it. I mean, it can't be said enough. And if I repeat myself this weekend, it's only because you've never heard this in the media or BT, and or not even on Democracy Now. You know, the progressive media seems to think that oppressing animals is the last acceptable oppression. So we don't hear about these issues that, you know, they all talk about climate change, and they have Bill McKibben on, Fibbin Bill McKibben, who is a meat eater and whose organization 350.org is influenced by rancher money, as is the Sierra Club, as is the Humane Society of the United States. So we need one little pocket of truth, and that's here this weekend. So we will be addressing all of these issues, and remember, for your folks who are concerned about climate change, animal agriculture is the #1 cause, producing at least 51% of all greenhouse gas emissions. And World Bank climate scientists tell us that if we don't have a shift of 50 to 85% from livestock products, so-called livestock products, to vegan, by 2020, 1,700 U.S. cities face the threat of submersion in the not-too-distant future. So, you know, the future is vegan. If it's not vegan, then there's really no future. So, I'd like to introduce one of the illustrious speakers, one of the stars of the show this weekend, who will be conducting a session tomorrow morning on the abolitionist approach to animal rights, and has given us really a school of thought. He's the first academic to teach animal rights theory in an American law school, and he's given us this school of thought of animal rights versus welfare, and actually has opened up our eyes, many of us, you know, including myself, to what's reality here and what really helps animals and what doesn't. And so we really owe Professor Francione a debt of gratitude for that, or we'd all still be out, you know, promoting cage-free eggs or something, which is what the so-called animal rights movement is doing now, promoting, you know, bigger cages, or, yeah, just nonsense. Which, yeah, I'm going to talk tomorrow morning from 9:30 to 10:30. You'll hear me. And then Professor Francione will also lead 2 grassroots workshops over the weekend on vegan activism. And so let's just all bring our ideas on how we can just help everybody to go vegan. It's for their own good, so we can't take no for an answer from anyone anymore. And certainly the animals don't want us to take no for an answer. So let's help everyone go vegan. And please join me in welcoming Professor Carrie Francione.
Can y'all hear me all right? Okay. Look, I'm really grateful that Bob invited me to this, and I'm happy that we're all here. We have a task ahead of us. The animal movement has completely foundered. It has failed. The animal rights movement existed for a very, very brief period of time in the 1980s. By the late 1980s, early 1990s, it was gone. In the sense that we had what I called in one of the books I wrote, Rain Without Thunder, the emergence of new welfare.
It's hard to hear you back.
The emergence of new welfarism, the idea that what we really want is to abolish animal exploitation, but we're going to do that by taking incremental welfarist steps. That cannot work. That is a disaster. Now what we have is a happy exploitation movement. That's what we've got. The animal movement is dead. We have a happy exploitation movement. All of the large groups, every single one of them, is involved with that to some degree or other. Most of them are involved directly or indirectly with labeling programs, with promoting these hucksters of happy meat like Whole Foods and places like that. This is a disaster. We've got to focus on a few things this weekend, one of which is, one, we need to educate ourselves. The number of people, animal people I meet, who are startled when I say, well, Peter Singer is a utilitarian, he doesn't believe in animal rights. And they say, well, you know, I've got animal liberation. I didn't know he didn't believe in animal rights. Did you ever read animal liberation? You may have animal liberation, but you've got to read animal liberation. We need to educate ourselves. If we're going to change the world, we can't look at this as some form of entertainment. I think it's great. Have a wonderful time this weekend. Be entertained. You know, there will be comedians and whatnot, you know, but don't take away from this that it's just a good time. Because this ought to be hard work. We need to educate ourselves so we can educate other people, because we have failed in that in many respects. We have ceded the ground to the large animal welfare groups who have turned activism into write us a check so that we can eliminate the worst abuses. That's nonsense. We're never going to, I mean, one of the things I'm going to talk about tomorrow is the status of animals as property means that animal welfare will never get anywhere. It can't go anywhere. They're economic commodities. The only time we regulate in their favor is when we get an economic benefit. So the animal movement has become nothing but a partner with institutionalized exploiters to make it more efficient. I'm going to talk about that tomorrow. But you need to learn the stuff. You need to learn you need to understand what's going on, why the movement has failed, and why veganism is not just a lifestyle, it's not just a way of reducing suffering, it's a fundamental principle of justice. You know, we hear this all the time from people, you know, in these large groups. Well, I'm a vegan. I don't care if they're vegan. They view veganism as no different from cage-free eggs and crate-free pork. It's all just a way of reducing suffering, and we're not going to take a position on what people ought to do because we don't believe in being judgmental. Well, damn it, you don't have a social movement without being judgmental. It doesn't mean you have to judge individuals, but it does mean you need to take positions on what's morally right and what's morally wrong. And if you don't do that, then this is just a big waste of time. If what we're doing is basically saying, well, if you feel this, you know, if you want crate-free pork, or cage-free egg, if that's what this is about, then just let's forget about it. But it's not what I see it as about. And I know that it's not what how Bob sees, which is why when he suggested a year ago, let's do this, I said, fine, you do it. You know, I was clear about that. You do it, you do it, I'll show up. And I have now shown up. But and I can see Bob's having a wonderful time. You know, people have been commenting on how Daisy is so well behaved. She's just comatose. Bob hasn't slept in weeks, neither has Daisy. But in any event, so what we're going to do, where is Bob?
Over here.
How long
are you? Mic's working, but I just want to see if the...
No, it sounds, I hate using mics anyway. The thing is learn this weekend and set as your goal learning so that you can educate others. Tomorrow I'm going to have a session in which I'm going to talk about the abolitionist approach to animal rights, what it means, why I think that why I think it's important. Then I'm going to have a session on animal rights versus animal welfare. Then I'm going to have a session with my colleagues Sandra Cummings and Jeff Purse and some other folks who are going to talk about some particular things that we're doing in the activist arena. But the bottom line is we need to reconceptualize the movement. We need to make it clear veganism is a moral baseline, and we need to make it clear that This is not just about animals. I see the animal movement as the new peace movement. This idea that, this is just about animals is crazy. Why do we think speciesism is bad? Because it's like racism, sexism, heterosexism, classism, all these other forms of discrimination. Well, if you think speciesism is bad because it's like these other forms of discrimination, which have basically otherized groups of humans, then you are committed to opposing racism, sexism, heterosexism, classism. We have got to turn this into something other than entertainment, something other than just the focus on animals. This is about justice, this is about peace, this is about nonviolence. I look forward to talking with you tomorrow.